I hope the last week class was understandable by everybody. So with the last week we have finished with the tissues in the plants. Now we are moving to the animal tissues. That means in animals what are the different types of tissues. So in animals we are having mainly four to five types. One is known as epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue. Four tissues are there. So we will go one by one. First we will go to the epithelial tissue. Epi means covering, thelia means skin. That means tissues which are responsible for protection or outer covering, they are considered as epithelial tissues. And inside our body there are a lot of epithelial tissues are there. It depends upon the function. For example, when you take in the lungs, we know that gaseous exchange takes place inside the lungs. That means through diffusion, the gases, carbon dioxide will be given to the lungs and oxygen will be taken from the lungs to the blood. So whenever they are exchanging this gas, the thickness of tissues or thickness of group of cells present inside there, their thickness should not be very thick. Their thickness should be in nanometers, and they should not be very thin or very thick, both. So I think I said thick now. They should not be very thick and they should not be very thin. They should be maintain a particular thickness. So like that, each and every part, each and every organ, according to their functions, they are different types of tissues are made. So among that, the first tissue is known as the epithelial tissues. These epithelial tissues can find out anywhere in the body. When it is found in our body also, the outer layer is made up of epithelia. So they are very tightly and they will be in a continuous sheet, and there will be no intercellular spaces will be there in between. Since it is a protection, so they can't, and they form a barrier between the organism, the inner environment and the outer environment of the organism. So according to the function and according to their thickness, these epithelial tissues are divided into four: squamous, cuboidal, columnar and stratified. So in my notes I have given granular also, like tissue I have mentioned there. When you go through that, we can see that word. So whatever it is known as the tissues, that is whether it is squamous, cuboidal, columnar and stratified, it is very easy to remember. For example, the tissue that is present inside our mouth, that means inside this cheek buccal cavity, those particular tissues are squamous epithelial tissues. That means these tissues are flat and very simple. They are not very much thick. And these tissues we can see on the lining of the esophagus and our skin. We have 6 to 7 layers. I hope there we have 7 layers of skin. Layers of skin are there one by one. If you remove, we see it as one. And our squamous tissues of the skin are made up of, and it is condensed with keratin. Since it is condensed with keratin, our skin can be also called as keratinized squamous epithelial tissues, which will protect us from wear and tear. And inside that, sometimes these, if you see the skin, they are arranged in layers. Squamous tissues are arranged in layers. Since they are arranged in layers, we can call it as stratified epithelial tissues also. In both the ways, if the squamous epithelial tissues are arranged in layer, which we call as stratified epithelial tissues, with the presence and absence of keratin, we can call it as keratinized stratified squamous epithelial tissues. and with the tissues that is present inside the mouth, that is in the buccal cavity, we can call it as non-keratinized squamous epithelial tissues. We can say that very generally, we will say it as squamous epithelial tissues. Just to differentiate very technically, we will say like that, keratinized or non-keratinized. Next comes is the cuboidal epithelial tissues. Cuboidal epithelial tissues. These cuboidal epithelial tissues are present in area especially where we need secretion and mechanical supports together. Wherever it is required, in those areas we will be having the cuboid epithelial tissues. And these epithelial tissues we can found in saliva, we can found in kidneys. And these epithelial tissues are multi-gland also. Since they are formed in multi-gland, we will call this epithelial tissues are glandular epithelium also. I have already said that, I have given this in note, so you can see there. So both are almost same. And next comes the columnar epithelial tissues. Columnar epithelial tissues are present in the area where absorption and secretion both are there. Cuboidal epithelial tissues are present where mechanical support and secretion, and columnar epithelial tissues are present where absorption and secretion both are there. For example, inside the stomach, it is made up of columnar epithelial tissues, and in intestine it is made up of columnar epithelial tissues. And these columnar epithelial tissues may have cilia on them. If the cilia are present, we will call it as ciliated columnar epithelial tissues. So these tissues are present inside our small intestine. It is present inside our in the fallopian tubules, which makes this egg ovum to move from one place, from the fallopian tubules to the uterus. They are helping. So these are the main type of epithelial tissues present inside our body. And inside the lung, where the gaseous exchanges are taking place, those areas we are having the simple squamous epithelial tissues. And the glands which secretes, they are made up of cuboidal epithelial tissues. So these are the main thing. They're very simple to understand. According to the function, you can understand the type of tissues. And along with this, I have given one homework chart, something to do of plant tissues I have given. Please do it as a homework and do it in your notebook. So whenever the school opens, we will have a discussion. We will have a correction of it. And if you have any doubt from that, please put a message wherever I am posting this video. Thank you.